everybody. On today's episode of Madge Unmuted, we have Rochester radio legend and current phenomenal podcaster, Bill Moran.
Boy, you are really blowing up my head.
Hey! If you're listening to audio, tune over to video so you can see what I just did. Anyway, and we have Fitz. We have a blast today, guys. Come on in. The water's fine. On Madge Unmuted. And welcome to another episode of Madge Unmuted. I am your hostess, Madge. Welcome to a new episode of Madge Unmuted.
Wait, didn't you already say that?
I did, but it's, it never hurts to reiterate things. And that, with me as always, is my lovely and talented producer, Fitz.
Good day. How's Dunkirk doing these days?
Good, sir. It is hot as balls today.
Crazy.
Yeah, to November 5th, Election Day. You'll all be seeing this after this hell day is over with. And it's really hot, and I can't wait till I can wear my sweaters and be done with this election.
I saw a great meme. It seems like the entire country is waiting for the results of an STD test.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw another one that said the whole country is waiting for results of a biopsy, which, is similar. I think STD is probably
darker,
a little funnier.
but okay.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's not really, who would joke about that? What the fuck? But anyway, I'm very excited because today we have a guest. We have
a guest.
I was going to...
Dude's a freaking legend.
Let me expound. Rochester broadcasting legend and now up and coming... podcasting legend. We have Bill Moran with us today.
Hello. I am so excited to be on Madge Unmuted. I see all your promos. And
Thank
I love
you.
Your hair is on fire.
Oh, thank you, Bill. So is yours, girl. Look, we got all the Irish Catholics in the house. Hey.
This is true.
Wait, you're Catholic. You can make sure you're Catholic, okay?
Yeah, well, I was.
Bill, how the hell are you?
I'm well.
Host?
I'm well. I'm doing my podcast and living life, being a dad.
Awesome.
And sleeping past 3:00 in the morning these days.
Yeah.
Which you can do.
That's
so many years. Yeah.
Let's explain that one. So Bill, so first let me tell everyone, Bill Moran has a podcast, Billified, that is available on YouTube
everywhere.
And every goddamn place you can get a podcast and then some. And it is really funny. I love it. Quite honestly, I love you more now off the radio because you use swear words.
Yeah.
And talk about off-color things.
And we talk about off-color things.
Yes, that is.
It does make it easier without the FCC reaching in.
Yeah. Isn't that though?
Yeah. The government has a way.
Exactly. And just when I was in radio 30 and some years ago, that was my thing. I had to take care of that damn FCC file.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was me. And
they sort of sent that away. But what did you have to do? Like the towers and?
Well, I had to do. No, I was. Wait, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 53.
Oh, you're a youngster. Okay, so I was working.
I know. Doesn't that sound funny, Fitz? It's like you go, wait a second. What?
I'm 59 and proud. So, you're a youngster. So I was with the Lincoln Group and working for Jack Palvino.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway,
Jack the Hands Palvino, is that what they called him? Handsy Palvino.
No, that was Lonsberry. Anyway, oh God, I don't know. Are we going to get ourselves in trouble?
Nope.
I'm not in that. I don't live in that fucking city anymore. I'm not. Anyway, so I was working there, and so Jack had a glass office so that he could oversee the secretarial pool. Is basically he treated us like it was just awful. But anyway, no, I had to do all the outreach stuff. Had to make sure that we were getting in.
So you had to do the public service stuff. In order to keep the license.
Yes, I had to do public service stuff and all the eat equal opportunity EOE crap. So,
Okay.
You know,
of which, go
people
ahead.
don't even have to, like, iHeart doesn't even have to do that anymore. The public affairs
Really?
things.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like some of the
think you're right.
stations here in Rochester still do the public affairs things where
Yeah.
you have to give
Right.
that 15-minute show every, week or whatever.
reflections, images, visions.
Yes. That is true. I don't think they
bridges.
have to anymore, Fitz. I don't know what
No, I know they don't because I still record those for all the other
Yeah.
stations, and I reached out to the folks at iHeart, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have to do that. We don't want to do that."
Never mind. I was going to say, I'm so worried about
You gotta
saying
throw
something.
some trash.
Why?
I know.
smack.
Yes, I was going to throw some trash. Like some of these stations and some of these people at these stations, if people really knew what was going on behind the scenes, and in particular these people's views against who they should be hiring and what types of people and what their what do you call them, values and all that, if they really knew what they were doing, that license would be so yanked so fast their head would spin.
Yeah, because you're licensed in the for the community good, right? So you're supposed to be able to do community good and outreach and all the public service things. So I think, Fitz, one of the ways they get around it is by having people on shows. So if you come in and do a live show and you get 15 minutes, then you get 15 minutes with, then that covers it.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be this separate thing on Sunday morning that people tune out anyway.
Oh, that's nice. They're giving credit for time served.
I think that's what it is. I don't know. I really don't know. I never paid attention to that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was a billion years ago. And so you're from downstate and you got up here by coming to college.
To college, St. John Fisher.
Oh yeah, and you're buddies with, like, we have a connection through a guy named Binsack.
Oh yeah. You know his
Scott,
mom,
right?
Yep. Scott.
Yeah.
Scott and I were roommates.
It's a weird
Fisher.
thing. My
What is
parents,
this person's name?
Scott Binsack.
Oh, okay.
My parents moved down to the Villages, and their first neighbor at the Villages was this woman, Barbara, who happens to be his mother. It was just a weird coincidence. It was like,
That
really?
is weird. Yep.
Okay, so and you and I have another connection. Well, I mean, other than many in town, but I'm not so much a connection anymore. I was good friends with him like 10 years ago, but the way you met, Vince Bryan.
No.
He's the one who got Jimmy Fallon up here because he was roommates with him at College of St. Rose.
College. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I knew him a billion years ago, and I met Damien a billion years ago, and but now I'm way out of that. I'm way out of that scene. So
You're probably better off.
come on now.
I'm just saying. There's sometimes you want to run. So they're a fun group, but it can get a little nutty.
Yeah, I know. So why the hell did you get on broadcast radio?
I got out of broadcast radio because I had a lovely incident with a contract that just became impassable. And at that point, I figured I've done it for 30 years. It didn't matter. My days were so jacked up. Radio's changed tremendously.
Yeah.
I still think that radio is super viable. And I always said if radio could go back to a smaller model, if you could go back to really serving the community you're in.
Yes.
I'm not sure about music radio anymore. I never really did that. I think spoken word can work real well in your town where you're talking about stuff. So the point I'm trying to make is when I left, I was on about 80 to 90 stations for iHeart.
Right.
Yeah, doing like classic rock stuff. So you would be talking about the state fair in, I don't know, Bryan, Texas. That's going to be.
Right.
You've never been to Bryan, Texas. At least here, if you talk about the 104 bridge, people know what you're talking about and you can relate.
Exactly. And
I do think that that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I've had this thought too that because I've known a lot of people in local radio. I think that there's a use for local broadcasting,
yep.
and like our dear friend, my very very close friend Scott Spezzano.
He had you on. You used to fill in. Like I would see you, and didn't you write a book?
Yeah.
Why do you say it like that? I think it's impressive as hell.
I know,
Why
she
would you go?
downplays it.
Yeah. Why? Was that a bad thing to bring up?
No, because I'm embarrassed of it now because it was 11 years ago and like my writing, you know how that is? It's like now I know when like rock stars don't want to sing a song they wrote 20 years ago because it like this kind of sucks. Yeah. But anyway, yes, I did. Thank you. I did, and I actually was on Wee's show to pimp it out, and Paulie got me in. I remember Wee's exact words were, "Why do we have her on?" What is this?
And you got to sit there and hear that. That always makes it feel good.
I'm like, yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like I survived an abusive marriage and raised 3 kids by myself, and I got them all through college. So, but you want to have a lady on that waxes vaginas for a living and thinks she's way more entertaining. Okay, knock yourself out. No. But really.
Yes.
So anyway, so yeah, I used to fill in once in a while when Sandy was on vacation, and because I have a degree in broadcasting and all that bullshit. You know how much that gets you. That and a quart will get you a cup of coffee. And so I did that, and what the hell am I talking? Oh, so I was telling Scott, and everybody was talking about getting out of it, and all of our friends were getting fired, and I said it's because like a thing like iHeart. There are only 10 radio personalities left in the nation, and they're just being, vindicated all over the place.
You're absolutely right. I would say, it's unfortunate because I always felt like I liked being on all those stations. It was kind of cool. It was extra money.
Sure.
It was all that stuff. But sometimes I would think about it, I go, what about the guy who could be on, the guy who could be doing an afternoon drive in that city instead of me taping it the day before. Yeah. So I always felt bad, but my days were, getting up to do stuff with Wham in the morning or Wheeze and then a talk show in the middle of the day and then all that stuff. So you were, I was long hours.
Yeah. And
I just thought that versus this over a squabble with a contract. I go, I'm out.
Yeah.
But there are lots of rumors as to why I left, and those are always fun.
Yeah.
The internet's great.
Yeah, I know, isn't it?
So the thing with the midget,
everybody's got an opinion, and they can all express it so well.
The thing with the midget and the clown, that's not real, right? That didn't really happen?
No, it didn't really happen. Well, not at that station.
Well, according to the clown, it did, but whatever.
So... See, I want to make jokes, and I'm like, is he going to sue me? I don't know. I was going to say, so the things about Thailand weren't true.
No, Thailand wasn't going to true. Why would I sue you? Please don't be uptight.
We know
what I am.
Just very litigious.
Wait, let me
He's
just
a very
roll
litigious
this.
man.
I want to do is spend more money on lawyers.
Pulled that stick out of my ass. Now
I didn't mean it like that.
I didn't mean you meant it like me. I meant it like the my.
Okay, got it. Oh
my God.
I would never talk about it because you couldn't say anything. I mean, the rumors were mean and horrible and salacious. And my big thing in life with everybody is you got to look for a pattern. If there's a rumor and you heard it a number of times with the same person, then I would tend to believe that there's some truth to it. If there's a rumor and I go, boy, that really doesn't seem like that guy, and I've known that person for a while, and I've never heard anything along those lines, I would tend not to believe it.
That's exactly what went through my mind when things did or didn't happen around in this town. And it has happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
I've heard that from people, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like that person. And I've known them for a while, and so out of character. Where'd it come from?
The thing,
right? So, and then the other thing is, like, you can spend your time trying to. I think the biggest thing, and it's really easy to say, but it's something that I've always said, is that what other people's opinions of me or you, whomever it is, it doesn't matter. They don't mean anything, because the true value is. That's always my thing. And I mean, look, you did a great job, Madge, right? You have 3 kids that you got through college. That is no easy feat, and especially no easy feat to do by yourself. Right. And I see all the pictures, and you go visit the kids, and everybody's got red hair, and they're all.
Thanks.
No, but I'm saying, like, you see all that stuff. And I think one of the biggest things that you can do for a kid today is build their self-esteem so their value comes from within, not without. So when those arrows come flying at you, you start to go, but that's not me. And I don't care what you think. And I'm going to go do my thing, because the people slinging the arrows are usually, there's two things in life, love and fear. They're coming from fear. They're afraid.
Oh, yeah.
They're afraid.
Preach, brother.
Yeah. And so I just, to me, it just makes no sense.
I know. But the other thing, I mean, conversely, is when people are, things do happen numerous times and no one believes the one side. So,
yes. And that's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And that seems to be changing. And that's where,
well,
a little bit, I like to think a little bit in the world, like some of the things we've seen over the past couple of years, it seems to be changing a little bit.
A little bit. I still have incidences when I am trying to tell someone about something and they're like, oh, come on, no way, that didn't happen. I'm like, I was there.
Right.
I'm a woman. This happened, and no way that couldn't happen. Okay, well, we'll believe you instead. And then, and it sucks because then it takes like these, when they always say to these women, we're just speaking of, sexual assault, and, they'll be saying, well, why didn't you come out then? Well, because one, no one's going to believe me like you're doing now. And now there's strength in numbers. So then when, the first person comes out, 100%. Then everybody, and then.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. And a lot of people will say things like, I have friends who are defense attorneys that'll often say, can you remember what you had for lunch last Thursday? Now tell me what you did 30 years ago. And having been, and something I've talked about on the radio, being molested as a kid, there are some things that just get seared into your brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So if you've been mistreated in some way, it's seared into your brain. The other thing I think you can hope for is, I know you have 2 daughters, correct?
Yes.
2 daughters and a son?
Yeah.
That whatever you went through, you somehow were able to stand up and show them that's the shit they don't need to put up with. Forgive me for
absolutely. And I forgot that you had mentioned your childhood trauma, and that really sucks. But yeah, with a couple of things. So my ex-husband was he was an angry drunk. He wasn't drunk every day, but when he binged, he was really angry and took it out on me. And then he started doing it to the kids as they got older. And, he was kind of terrifying. He was a big hockey player or whatever. And so when the kids saw what was going on, and so I said to them that this isn't how real life, works. But I also didn't make their dad a total demon. I was like, your dad's got a problem.
He's a good person.
He's still a human being. And then we got divorced, and then he vanished for several years. We didn't know if he was dead or alive. And the kids were just absolutely devastated. And I wasn't working at the time. Well, I had a small part-time job when they were in school.
Right.
And he was like 70% of my income. That's how we set up the divorce, because he had a high executive job, traveled all the time. And so I was like, take care of the kids. Well, he left and I had no money. And so there was, food stamps and shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. And so I got evicted, and, and so the kids, I'm like, one of the first things said, what?
You got evicted?
Oh, twice. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, I got evicted. I was on food stamps, and I went to college. I was, smart person, but, and oh my God, that's right. My son had just started McQuaid. Anyway, that was the good thing about being a broke single mom.
And you sent your son to McQuaid.
Yeah, he was already there because his father had gone there. So it was his big idea. But it was actually the best thing I could have ever done to send my kids to Mercy and McQuaid, because they got, but they got, anyway, let me get, okay. So when we were going through that, and I lived in Brighton, and we would go shopping at the Pittsford Wegmans, and here's me bringing out my EBT card to pay. And I was mortified.
Sure you were.
And the kids, I was like, just, go. But when we got out, I remember saying to them several times, just remember, this will not define us. This does not define us. We're temporary. We're getting help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be, even though inside I'm dying, but I was like, this doesn't define us. You can be whatever you want to be, and yada yada. And yeah, and then to the male female thing, I told my girls, this. Don't ever let a man do this to you. Don't ever let a man control you. Don't let him talk like this, to call you names, blah, blah, blah. But also, I told my son, you do not ever treat a woman like this.
Sure.
You have sisters. You have a mother. We're all tight-knit. You don't want anybody talking like that. Don't do this. And so, anyway.
Man, you are one strong woman, huh?
Ain't she?
Thanks.
Yes, because I didn't know that story.
Oh, yeah.
That's some tough stuff to go through, and there are times where it's humbling.
Yeah,
a little bit, right? And then your kids have got to be so impressed now as adults watching it. That's got to make you feel great.
It doesn't. My now you're going to make me tear up now, and I haven't thought about this shit in years. So because
I didn't mean to do that.
No. It's in a good way. Way to go, asshole. No, so they, my son graduated NYU in 2016. Libby graduated from Quinnipiac in 2019, and Abby graduated Syracuse in 21. And
God, they all went to real shitty schools, didn't they?
I know.
God, this is horrible. My God.
And they all live in the New York City area, and my middle daughter works for the NHL, so.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah. In Manhattan. So anyway, yeah, I'm really proud of what they've done. And one of the things they've told me is going to Mercy McQuaid. They said it made like college was kind of easy when they got to it because they were equipped in that way. And then the other thing was all the shit that we went through, like sometimes getting like just crayons for Christmas. They're like, it prepared us for life that not everything's easy.
Well, you learn what you don't want, right?
Well,
that's all you can do is, know what you want, know what you don't want.
Yeah.
So anyway, that contrast is great.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a story. Is that what the book's about?
Yeah. But
I think you should be proud. Jesus, you should be out on a speaking tour.
Well, I tried that. And I don't know. It's like I've tried to do 100 different occupations, and nothing quite has. Just because I guess it wasn't the right time, I tried the stand-up comedy, I tried the speaking, I've tried the podcasting for the 18th time. So anyway, I need to go to the school of the Bill Moran School of Podcasting. And
well, the Bill Moran School is always was fuck it, I'll do it myself, which I wouldn't say is always the right way to do it either, because nobody does anything alone.
Yeah.
But that was always my thing, is that screw it, and I always had a problem with authority. So I know, I can see it, I recognize it, but in
none
a way,
of us here have that problem.
No, not at all. But that was, I think those were my things. And then I loved radio because I loved the voices that I had heard on it as a kid. There was a guy in Poughkeepsie that was building the world's largest meatball in the parking lot, and I was like 10 years old. I thought that, I got to see this thing, but it was all theater of the mind.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about radio. And when I started, because I went to Fisher and then I had to take a year off, I got in some trouble.
Voluntarily or involuntarily?
Yeah, no, voluntarily. Well, I think it was suggested by the person writing the check, which would be my father, and the school itself. And then I worked midnight to 6 on a rock station, and that's where I would get bored. So I would just talk. I called payphones to have them answer in the middle of the night. I just let people show up at the radio station. It was like,
that's so fun.
Well, it was the greatest training ground, but that is something that's lost in radio. Nobody does live overnights anymore.
Right. So that's funny. When I got into radio, like started high school in 1979, and so all in the 70s, I was, it was all that hippie FM radio, like you said, late night, and you had obviously it was like WKRP, you know, and so but I was really into the music. I was into I could talk about musical facts and anecdotes, live liner notes, and I wanted to do that. I was really into the music, and then when I got out of college in '87, it all become this corporate thing where everybody, one company was buying up everything, and you were just like popping in carts.
Right,
Remember those?
Right. Yes.
And you weren't allowed to say anything or anything. And then
see, that's where I always was told that too, and I just went and did it anyway. Well, I mean, if it didn't, I got my hand slapped a few times, but I just would go and find a different way. I would always figure, because I would get bored just playing the music. You get bored, so I would start to just take phone calls or do something, and you kind of find your way. I mean, everybody, I don't care who it is, authors, comics, probably even teachers, you emulate somebody until you find your own voice. And then when you find your own voice, you kind of run off and do your own thing.
That is so funny that you said that, because I was taking a walk. I live like 2 houses from the beach, and I was taking a walk on the beach today, and I was
this fancy place.
Thinking, what?
I said, where is this fancy place? I thought he said Dunkirk.
It is Dunkirk. It's on the beautiful shores of Lake Erie.
He had no idea.
Well, that actually sounds very nice. I always thought Dunkirk was like, Dunkirk.
I know. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, it sounds like
no, it really is.
Yeah.
I have a house with deeded
lake access,
private beach.
Wow.
So anyway, so I'm walking along, and I was thinking about, this is like such a long tangent, but I'll try and make it short. You were talking about on your podcast yesterday, Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
And I had just, read up a lot on him. And the one thing I wanted to how you're listening to, I'm listening to your podcast, and I'm like in the conversation in my mind, I'm like, so I guess that's the purpose of what you want to do, and you're doing a good job. So I was going to say, another one that Quincy Jones produced was New Order.
I forgot. That's right.
Yeah, he redid, did like an extended thing of Blue Monday. So anyway, and he sought them out because he's like, this is some really great music. So anyway, as I'm walking along, I'm thinking, but you know what? Everything is just, because I thought, that's not original stuff. He redid somebody else's stuff. But I'm thinking, isn't that kind of what humankind is now? There's been billions and billions and trillions of people since the beginning of time that have had trillions and billions, zillions of thoughts. Is there original thought left? All you're doing is building on some other thought. And so there can't,
You're absolutely right. It's true. I have some very weird friends that have these philosophical discussions about that, and everything is an evolution, right? So everything is built on the idea of something else.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
And so everything you need is sort of here, but it's here in the thought, and yeah.
Right. Like I was reading, I had to take a college course a while back, and it was it's like American pop music or something. And it was really interesting because there wasn't any sort of copyright or anything until like sheet music came along, even well after that. And so they were bringing up all these examples of there had just been like the same song melody over and over that's changed words and the same chord progression and the same. It was just like basically all people did was take, freaking Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and put new words to it, and that was perfectly fine. So
it's strange because even now I never understood. There's a band, I think they're called Sweet, I think, or Spirit, and they did a song with Zeppelin. You got it. It's the exact same thing, is it not? It sounds identical, but I think in a court of law they can't play it. They have to look at sheet music,
right,
and determine from the sheet music. And I'm thinking, what judge went to school for music that can say, this is absolutely identical, or it's an octave lower? I wouldn't know. I would have no idea.
Right, like the infamous, Vanilla Ice with it's ding 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 ding. I'm like, okay, bud. Shut you.
That's pretty funny.
And thinking one of my all-time favorite bands is Beastie Boys, and everything of theirs in the beginning was sampled, but that was back in the day when there you could sample.
Well, it was almost cool to sample.
Right, but there was no regulation on it yet.
No.
Nobody had
Right.
said, hey, that's mine, you got to pay me. And so it was just, but their stuff was like really cool, like combing through all the record stores in, in the village and like getting out old jazz records or
Yeah.
bossa nova, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, so it exposed people to music they weren't, like kids to music that they weren't familiar with. Right? All based off of stuff that they would never know. Sometimes you can make a nice connection with it because my kid is like into real underground rap.
Which one? The one at
the
home?
youngest one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one with me. And rappers I've never even heard of. Right. And I'll say something to some other kid. They go, oh, that's an underground rapper. And I'll be like, I have no idea. But sometimes you'll find some kind of sample that they're using or something. You go, oh, well, that's where this came from. And you can kind of have a conversation, a little father-son bonding.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yes,
Aw,
I'm trying.
Kumbaya. There's a really interesting guy on TikTok that like deconstructs all these very famous recordings, and he'll isolate each track and tell you, and this stuff is like, this is the bass line from New Order's Blue Monday, sped up and backwards, and I'm like, geez, who knew?
Oh, who knew?
How'd you figure that shit out? But anyway, so where are your other two offspring?
One is working on their master's at the University of St. Louis. He's a thrower for hammer and shot put and track.
How cool!
Yeah, it is pretty cool. He has to have surgery Thursday because he tore his labrum. He's a big, strong, muscle-bound guy, but he has to have reconstructive surgery on his shoulder on Thursday because something happened in the weight room. And then the oldest guy is living in New York City.
How awesome.
Yeah, he wanted to go do that. And the thing with him was like was diagnosed Asperger's like at 6, which is even then is a little late. And but had the dream, wanted to do it. And my whole thing to them is you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want to do, you can have or be or do anything you want. And
Good
anytime they start to get discouraged, I'll always go, but look at where you are. Well, look at all this stuff you've done. Keep going.
Oh, Bill.
Keep going.
Can I?
Yeah, you didn't know this side of me, did you?
Can I move in with you? No.
Sure. That could be a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, sorry, never mind. I mean, will you be my
I think
mentor?
he should move in with you. You're the one with the beach house.
That, you know what, Fitz? Now you're talking. Now you're talking. What about you? What do you do with besides the podcast? Still writing? Still?
I need to write. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it. I have John has he has a bar up in Fairhaven, and I do all the marketing and all that, social media. So yeah, we have this weird, we live hours and hours apart, not that far, but, and we live our own separate lives, but we work on this business together. So that's what I do. I do all the business stuff for that.
That sounds like there's many people who would go, oh, that is the ideal relationship right there. That is perfect.
No offense. It is. No offense to him. I don't want to live with somebody. I don't want to be married again. I don't want you telling me where I need to put the lettuce in the fridge. I don't want you asking me where I am. I don't want you telling me I'm getting too drunk. I just leave me the fuck alone. Sorry.
Isn't it? That's called freedom. That's what that is. And maturity. Freedom and maturity. Isn't that all you want in life is freedom? Everything gets you freedom. Money gives you freedom.
It does. It does. Right. Well, I'm still looking for that, but
why? You got a house on the beach.
Yeah. You're right.
And then a room you could probably use if you really needed to for OnlyFans. I have no idea. Whatever you want to do, cooking show on OnlyFans.
If I turn the camera around in here, there's 2 big full-size beds. I'm not kidding. This is what would be my daughter's bedroom. Try and do little different marketing things for people here and there, social media. Okay. But man, this getting old thing, everybody thinks age discrimination is a real thing for women.
I think you're right.
I cannot get a goddamn interview for some things, but it has propelled me to just, I've been doing my own damn thing for years.
Good.
So that's what I
think
do.
another book needs to come out. Madge.
You know, thank you, Bill. Because actually the last one was written in 2013 and they were still, the two girls were still in school. So I didn't even write the whole thing about the other one. But yeah.
I still love the title of that book, by the way.
Oh, yeah. When life gives you lemons, at least you won't get scurvy.
It's a great title.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
Yes, because everything's always the lemonade. I love that. You won't get scurvy. I love it.
Yeah. But that, some people nowadays are like, what does that mean? So what's up with you? You are a single dad now. Are you dating, carousing?
Am I carousing? No, I try to keep myself, I know myself too well, so I don't carouse. And sometimes I'll even go occasionally and substitute teach.
I saw that in your episode yesterday in your little sweater and button down.
I mentioned it. I just said, because I was like, I'm not sure, but it was one of these things where you have some time during the day, and I just thought it would be somewhat interesting. And the fact that my 14-year-old's eating me out of house and home. His kid is 6'1" and 180 pounds.
Holy crap.
Yeah. He's 14, yeah.
Oh my God.
So I figured, you know what? Let me see if I can because most of the time we're taping in the evening. You do stuff on weekends. And the great thing about all this stuff, as you know, is the freedom and flexibility. And Fitz can say the same thing. It's right. It's freedom and flexibility that allows you to do stuff. So I just thought, well, let me see if something pops up. And it did. And so I have been doing that a little bit. And it's been interesting.
What do you substitute teaching?
So I will substitute sometimes math.
Did you go to school for education or something?
No, I did not.
Really?
I did not.
So it seems so out of the blue. Like you just, I think I'll be a sub.
Yeah, it was sort of out of the blue.
It's been brought up to me several times because all you need is
freaking teacher though. That's for sure. If I had you as a teacher, I'd be like, all right. This is the coolest. When you had the sub come in, sometimes there was the sub that you're like, oh crap, we got this guy again. Yeah. And then there was the other sub that didn't do shit. I had a sub in middle school, and all he did was sit over in the corner and practice his golf swing for an hour. That was great. He was a great guy.
Yeah, I usually try to just talk to the kids. I just like talk. I'm always curious, and I figured if you had a chance, because I always go, well, what's next? What's the next thing, right? So I'm working on some other projects with stuff, and you brought something up earlier, Madge, where you said if people knew really what went on behind the scenes of radio. So we've been working on a project here called Radio Days, and what we do is go talk to people who either are still in radio or used to be in radio. Some of them pretty high profile, some of them have been nationally syndicated, and they tell you stories of the things that we heard about, but the real behind the scenes stuff, the fights with management you didn't know about, that sort of thing. And it's pretty interesting.
Oh God, that sounds great. I can't wait. Is that going to be on film or written, or
we'll probably do it more as almost, it's shot like a docuseries sort of.
Gotcha.
The lighting and the stuff like that. So it's one of those. It just is one of these things that just takes a long time.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get all that out. And,
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And I think, again, I think Fitz even sees this too. When you're in it, right, all of a sudden you're going, well, hang on a second. I got to get money to make money. And so you're trying to pull from here and there and make things work. And it has been fun. It's been a learning experience for sure. I would say the only thing I miss about the radio would be the consistent paycheck.
Yeah.
And that was kind of nice because at the end it was pretty good.
Yeah. You know what? The thing with me that I was so nerve-wracking when I was in it in like the late 80s, early 90s, and mid 90s, up until about 96 I was in. So it was when corporations, when they lapsed the regulations and you could have more than one, you could own more than one station or whatever, and corporations kept buying up all these stations, and then they would consolidate all the a lot of the positions, and it was like Well, you went through it too. I mean, it's like, you probably a little different, but me being in like the traffic department and business department and public affairs and, all that, it was like, are they going to keep the girl from the other station? And,
right.
It was like, I never knew when I was going to have a job. And then when I started having kids, I was like, I can't live like this. I got to go.
It's unfortunate because I think that one of the things is people have such passion for it, but they really seem to crush that.
Yeah.
It seems to get crushed at times.
And
that's the thing that I always hated to see was people's passion for this. It's supposed to be fun. It's entertainment. Yes. I mean, it's really entertainment.
Exactly.
That's what it is. And I'll tell you, where the thing to teaching is, it's the same thing. If you can hold an audience, you can hold an audience. That's why I thought to do it. My parents were teachers, right? But so you kind of had that. My sister's got a doctorate in linguistics and she writes curriculum. And my father has one in philosophy, but he taught 6th grade English.
Oh.
With a doctorate in philosophy, he taught 6th grade English. That was it. That was all it did. I know. He built the house I grew up in. That was great. But other than that, that's what he did. He was a 6th grade English teacher with a doctorate in philosophy from Fordham. But I always thought that if you can hold the attention and make it interesting, and I really think, like, even on radio, your podcast, whatever, you are still teaching. It's still you're sharing ideas, you're sharing opinions, you're doing that. And if you can hold it and do it in a way that makes people want to stay with you, you can do it anywhere. You could be on stage, talking about your book. You could be teaching a class. You could be, all that stuff. I just think it's all. I don't think we look at things that way. I think we all look at each thing as an individual box. Well, I can't be this and I can't be that. And I'll tell you sort of what changed my thinking. It's guys like Post Malone. And before you laugh, he's a rapper, but then he goes to country. Well, that's an artist.
Yeah.
Beyonce, rap, or not rap, excuse me, forgive me, R&B.
Yeah.
And then you would go country. Well, you can't put an artist in a box. Well, you can't put a human being in a box either. And if you can talk and express ideas in a way that all communication is getting it from the idea from my head to yours. If I can do that, you can do it with anybody, and you can do it in a number of different settings. I sort of miss the Renaissance man. You know what I'm saying?
Testify. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
No,
I think you're the same way.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in a, write the goddamn book and, do something else and teach the yoga or I don't know.
There ain't no yoga going on over here, but no, I know. Yeah, no, absolutely. I know. I need to.
I taught boxing. I love it.
Really?
Do everything. Yeah.
I've been my own worst enemy. I gotta tell you, but
we all are.
But it was also when I was trying to save. When I was trying to, save. When I was trying to raise my 3 kids by myself, wholly by myself, I had to just keep doing whatever was going to bring in the most money. I always had 3 different. I was trying to survive, and so there was no, me going after my dreams, and so I had to wait until 55. But also when I was in high school, I wanted to go to college for theater, and my father, I'm the youngest of 6, and I have all these other high achieving people, siblings, and my father is
the black sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. I am the striped sheep. No, I totally am. So my father's exact words to me were, I'm not paying for you to go to college to become a waitress. Because that's all I would do in theater, which I now understand. I now understand what he was trying to do, but he probably didn't have to say it like that. So when my kids were thinking about what they were going to, major in, and they all had their dreams, and I tried to be like, okay, that's great, but also, do we think we can maybe have a little safety net to see if there's something, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just talked through them. So it's that good old Catholic guilt and that you're nothing special that I felt like I has crushed all my dreams my whole life. So I'm starting to get
battling imposter syndrome since then.
Exactly. Have you ever had that, Bill? Have you?
Imposter syndrome?
Or just or self-worth issues?
No. Yes. Of course. Of course I did. I'll tell you why. One of the reasons I wanted to be on radio was no one could see you. right? So you could be somebody you weren't really.
Absolutely.
I could hide. I could be this cool guy that maybe I wasn't really in real life or whatever, or all the secrets that I had and all the, we mentioned childhood trauma, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And as time went on, you started to see, well, that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
And you're better off being authentically yourself. And that's when it really comes out. But it takes a while. So sure. But I think that you have self-doubt all the time. Yeah. I think you just have to realize you have to push through it and try to find that one thing that's working well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had opportunities, like I went to LA. They brought me out, and they had just bought the Tonight Show building because Fallon had brought it back to New York. Oh, right. So that became their theater, and in the basement was these recording studios. So I snuck in there with woman's name is Ellen Kay. She used to be on with like Rick Dees, and then she was on with Seacrest, and they were giving her own show. And so they wanted somebody with a little more edge. So they flew me out, and we did a couple things. And so they offered me the job, but the money was terrible for there, right? And so you start to go, well, this is crazy. And the answer back was, well, you're in LA. You could do a talk show. You could do a game show. I go, what? Yeah, you do stand-up comedy. I go, those aren't guaranteed gigs, as we know. And so sometimes you start to go, well, maybe this isn't going to work for me. Maybe it's not going to whatever. But I never wanted to be transient and bounce around in radio. And I think that there was a thing in me that I didn't care, and I was just going to work. I loved it, and I was going to work. And there were times, I got to tell you, like, there were times when they started the break room and all that, I was just working nonstop because to your point, that's when Weeze leaves, he goes to iHeart. We stay behind because not everybody's on the same contract. Right. And they're talking about, well, maybe we'll get Ted Nugent in. Maybe we'll do this. All of a sudden, the afternoon guy from one of their stations is sitting in the morning show. So you had to ride this storm out and prove that you could do it. And man, that was tough. I was working all the time.
I could imagine.
Writing, constantly just writing.
Yeah. Writing, what were you like writing bits
like, because I'll always go into, if you're going to discuss something, how can I do it that it's going to be interesting no matter what it is? So I would just sit with like pad and paper and go as many ideas as I could. And once you get down to one that you think that nobody's really going to have that angle, then kind of build off that.
Oh, Jesus. I just talk off the top of my head. Maybe I should try that, writing shit down.
I don't know. I always liked the writing stuff. I really did. I always liked writing screenplays, that sort of thing. I never pushed it, but I always would like to do something like that.
I thought about that, and then
you need to do it. You got a guy sitting with you who could probably steer you in the right direction. You just ducked.
Come on, Fitz.
Well, I hate to say it, but this conversation's actually getting me motivated. I did not expect that coming in today.
Me either.
We've been trying to put something together here for a while since we did our little feature. So, yeah, I know what you mean, Madge.
Yeah, let's go, Bill Moran, motivational speaker.
Well, right? Sometimes it's one of these things that you just have to just jump.
Yeah,
you got to just say. I don't know about you. Like, I do a lot of very weird things. I'm a very weird person.
I'm a very weird person.
When you say weird, well, okay. But like what I'm talking about is like I do cold showers in the morning to wake up. I do meditation stuff. I do all that.
That's not weird.
I always think sometimes if meditation, like I love drag racing. Not to watch it, to actually do it. Because when you're going 120 miles an hour, you can't think of anything else other than what's happening right in that moment right there.
I thought you were talking about something else.
No. That's usually Thursday nights down at never mind.
I'm like, in heels or in sneakers?
I love RuPaul.
Yes, that stuff is so much fun to me, and I always figure anytime I'm scared to do something, I always go, fuck it. Try it. What's the worst that's going to happen?
No, and that's so funny because
Jesus Christ, you have survived the worst. I just heard a story. I mean, that's some tough shit.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I need, I've tried so hard to like forget that stuff. And then I need to like remind myself that I did that. Cause that was my whole MO back then is like, fuck it. What else option do my kids have? I just have to do this. I have to survive. I have to go out. I have to ask somebody if I can clean their toilet for $20.
Did you have family around and stuff?
No.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is like, I was getting that impression. That makes it even harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't have his family, my family, and then his family ended up being. That's a whole nother story for another
they sound
time.
Like they were lovely people. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure they were real stand-up.
And and they ended up
Slogger
being. yeah, and I had to get them out because they were bad. So anyway, so
don't look back at that and go through all the shit. Just go, man, what an amazing job you did.
You're right. Well,
I'll tell you what, as an outsider, not knowing that, seeing all the stuff, and we only see what people put forward. But those kids, you go visit. I see you and your son with his red hair and his red beard and all that. He's very happy.
Kids are awesome.
Guy.
She had them all here on her show a couple of years ago. They were all here at the studio. And it was just a blast having all of them at the table.
They're just
it was
fucking
fantastic.
hilarious.
Just good people.
So you should be like prouder than anything.
Thank you.
If you did that, you could do anything.
Well, you know what I have to say. This is how I got down here. Like I used someone else's money to buy this thing this house as a Airbnb, like it was an investment. And then I'd been living in Rochester for so long and I was just like so tired of it. I was like, I hate this place. I have nothing here. I don't like anybody anymore. I don't have any friends. And so the housing market, and I bought my house 9 years ago and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to move down. I'll sell the house. I made 3 times what I paid for it. And
awesome.
I already had this house and this is where I grew up. I don't have any friends. I don't have any family here. I have lots of friends. It's a really goofy place. And I just took a leap. And so, and then when I got back into this again, I'm taking a leap. So I'm jumping into puddles.
Yeah. Well, all right. Can I ask a question about the podcast? Because you left these teases and I never did get the follow up. And I know I should go back and listen, but I didn't. Okay. Your Hallmark story. Your Hallmark one. Because I that to me was perfect. I pictured it in my head because I've always said I want to write a Hallmark movie. I so badly want to do it. It just looks like, doesn't it look like fun and easy to do?
It is. And that's why I kept. It's an ongoing story. It's about me moving back to this town. I mean, it's a small city. I mean, it's not like, like Fairhaven where there's 700 people. I mean, there's still 15,000 people here, but it's very, stuck in time. And, I came back here after years and years and I'm used to big cities. I lived in Denver, Rochester, New York. And so I kept talking about how I moved back here and minus the, I haven't done the like fall in love with my high school boyfriend.
I don't know.
I know, but it's just like the mindset of when I'm trying to do things like, okay, I want to go to this restaurant, and I cannot find for the life of me anything about when this place is open, what the hours are, what days they're open, what they're serving. There's no phone number. They don't answer the phone. Nobody, you know what I mean? It's like, do I have to send up like fucking smoke signals to find out? You know what I mean? It's just that kind of Hallmark movie. So I'm still working through all that. That sounds like a book. Yeah. Also, though, I don't want to offend anybody around here either.
So change the names to protect the innocent. It's just the idea. It's the theme.
Bill, the one thing around here this place is like about 80% Polish, and there's all these private clubs here. It's like the Monashusko Club, the Kosciuszko Club, the Dom Polski, the First Ward Falcons, Fourth Ward Falcons, and they're all these little private clubs, and they're mostly men only. But you can go in if you. But it's like two it's like I can get a Tullamore Dew on the rocks for $2.75.
Isn't that great? Yeah, because it's like the old Elks Club.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
But it's the, it's the same old guys sitting there every week, and they have their pile of money, and they're just everybody's got a nickname, and they're all talking about down there at the Purina plant, and it's hilarious. But I don't want to.
It's like when a redhead comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Old guys and redheads. I'll never see.
Oh,
Anytime I see a
know.
redheaded woman in a store and an older guy, I always know he's going to make a comment.
Yep.
He's going to say something.
That's why I say, when that's the carpets match the drapes, I say, nope, I've got linoleum. And then they don't know quite what to do with
Yeah,
that.
they're like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know, but I want to find out.
Who's waxing it?
Oh, it's a dessert topping and a floor wax. Okay. Oh, waxing it. That's never mind.
Yes.
You brought her, you wax her. Anyway, so Bill Moran. I've got to let Fitz go. I got to let you go. You probably got to pick up a kid, don't you?
Yeah, I got to pick up a kid from basketball.
So
it's weightlifting day.
What's next for you, Bill Moran?
For
I
me,
just like to say your name, full name.
We'll do. I'll be taping an episode tonight. We'll have to find a time to get you on. I would love to do like a one-on-one with you and hear that story more in depth of.
Oh,
I think that's really interesting. It's something that should be recognized.
Thank you. I would love to do that too.
So I'll do that, and I am writing and working on some other projects that I try to see if they'll take off. I don't like talking about a lot of things, and here's why. Because I think everybody who gives you advice and they're trying to do it from a meaningful spot can sometimes really fuck it up for you. Mm-hmm. And I always will say to people, I'll go, you know what? Jesus, and my father argues with me that he didn't say this, but go forth and tell no one. He would heal somebody and say, go forth and tell no one.
Right.
Because doubt sneaks in, because all of a sudden you come back and Bob goes, hey, you got your ear back on from that leprosy. That'll last about a month. I'll give you 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And then the doubt comes in, and we don't need the doubt.
Absolutely.
So that's right. And so that's where a lot of times I don't. I'll tell you this, like the podcast, I bought all the equipment, and then I talked to a former radio guy who goes, yeah, I did that for like a month, and then I figured, fuck it, I can't make any money. And I'm like, oh, now you tell me. Right? And so it's one of these things where, again, you just got to just go.
I know.
You'll find a way.
I've learned about that too. Just keep all my shit close to the vest, and because how is it that I still remember 42 years ago that my father said, oh, you're going to go to college to become a waitress, like as if I would not be succeeding in the theater or film or whatever. So so I've stopped talking to people about shit, but I'm glad. It sounds like you got great things.
Really cool stuff happening, and it sounds like you do too.
Thanks.
That's the thing. Fitz does, and everybody does. See, everybody's finding it's better to do it on your own than to have all the breathing down your neck and have to do you don't want to do.
Fitz, what do you got going on? Making another movie?
No, that's not happening anytime soon. That was I would love to. I would absolutely love to. So one thing that I've been trying to put together is like sort of a web series that's kind of based on a fictitious studio, a voiceover studio, where I get that idea. And we have a bunch of actors, and they're all going to be doing this radio play, recording this radio play. And the radio play is real. The actors that are playing these actors are playing. This is getting really complicated. So it's like a fictitious story following a studio of actors, and it's kind of a little ad lib and stuff like that. And they're interacting, and you kind of like The Office type of thing. And but what they're actually producing is real. So people, when they watch the show and they see these crazy people doing stuff, you can actually go and listen to what they actually did. So
that's cool.
So that's
I did that. That'll never work.
Yes.
No, that sounds great. Well, look
and there's
at
a spot for Madge.
Woohoo!
I mean, I talked about this a while ago. But because of this conversation, I decided, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Excellent.
Bill,
fucking Moranimal.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Moranimal.
I just remembered.
That's what it was.
Oh my God. Well, it was an absolute joy having you on today. I enjoyed this so much.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And I hope you'll join us again sometime.
I would love it. And I hope I will return the invite.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope so. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, hell, Madge, that was a pretty goddamn good conversation with Bill Moran, don't you think?
Yeah, it was.
Who would have thunk that it was going to be all like inspirational and shit?
I know. Oh my gosh. I'm like still like coming down off that. Whew.
I guess I didn't get affected as you did, but it still was a good conversation.
No, man, he is a great motivational guy. I mean, and he's really smart and he's really clever. And that was a really great conversation. Yeah. He just made me think about a lot of stuff. I was like, here I am thinking I'm going to be all interviewing him and stuff. And then he's like, ask me, but then he's a professional. That's how they get you. And no, that was really great. So anyway,
it was a great surprise because I didn't really know it was happening until a little while before. So it was a nice surprise to learn that we were going to talk to good old Bill Moran.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We were in talks, and then we had some scheduling things, and then it's like, is this really going to happen? And then it did, and my gosh, it was like serendipity, day. Anyway, well, I guess that's going to do it for us today, right?
That's it. Another one in the books.
It is. Another one bites the dust. As Freddie Mercury said, no, that's not nice. That was another one in the books. Fitz, thank you so much for joining me, as usual. Hey, everybody. You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I mean, we kind of have to have each other, or else there wouldn't be this podcast. So. The
conversation would be half as good.
Yeah, and it wouldn't. I wouldn't have anything recorded either.
How do people find your show, Madge?
Well, one would want to subscribe. That's why I say, hey, everybody here, subscribe while you're here. YouTube, just click that button below, and if you're listening, please subscribe, because then you'll find out whenever the next episode comes out, and you'll help me out immensely. Anyway, subscribe to Madge Unmuted while you're here, and we will see you next time on Madge Unmuted.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.